So we can begin now.
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We will start now.
Yes, sir.
Namaskar. Good afternoon to one and all. First of all, I warmly welcome you all to the online course conducted by Mahila Mahavidyalaya Nandanwar Nagpur in collaboration with Rajkumar Keval Ramani Kanya Mahavidyalaya, R.S. Mundle Dharampet Arts and Commerce College, and the Board of Studies in English, RTM Nagpur University Nagpur. Dear students, today we have an expert speaker, Dr. Pranjali Kane, who is going to deliver a lecture on the poem Taking My Pen, written by Michael Drayton. I feel proud to introduce you Dr. Pranjali Kane. Dr. Pranjali Kane is an assistant professor of English in Sri Binjani City College, Nagpur. She has got huge experience of teaching in the field of higher education. Her passionate area of interest is literature and psychology. She has published a quite number of research papers in different national and international journals. She has also delivered many academic talks on different occasions. She is the PhD supervisor, and four students are working under her able guidance. In addition to that, she also conducts different type of training programs for young graduates to take a big leap from campus life to corporate life. We are really fortunate enough to have such a knowledgeable person with us today on this occasion. I hope her deliberate discussion on the poem Taking My Pen will definitely prove to be beneficial to all of us. Once again, I welcome you all, and without wasting time, I invite Dr. Pranjali Kane to carry out the session. Dr. Pranjali Kane, ma'am.
Namaskar everyone, and thank you so much Dodevar sir to introduce me. It's always a pleasure to get connected to all the students in this pandemic, especially when we are facing classes which are all empty. I think this is a wonderful opportunity that the collaborative activity has given me. I thank them at the outset. Let me share my screen with everyone. Yes. I hope this is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
What we are going to do today is this is the fifth poem of the new course of English literature, Taking My Pen by Michael Drayton. And I'm sure all of you are going to enjoy this, because this being a love sonnet of the Elizabethan age. Now, specifically speaking, if I move on to my next page, just a second. Right. So if we look at the whole biography of Michael Drayton, very less is known about his personal life, but whatever is known, I'll present it in front of you. This year, that is 1563, this age from 63 to 1631. So we all know that he was there as a writer of poetry and somewhere prose also, because we'll later on see that he maintained the records of how poetry changed in the Elizabethan age. So the Elizabethan age as well as the next age, that was the Jacobean age, was what his period of writing was. Now, if we move on to talk about Michael Drayton, he is known as the first poet to write odes in the manner of Horace. And my first year students would by now at least know what odes are. They are poems poets write addressing something or someone. Those poems are called as odes. So the Horatian odes specifically, he was the first one. Michael Drayton was the first one to write in that manner. Then another aspect of his writing was that he thought that a poet should record all the things which happen in the public domain. So the public values, the culture, or maybe some more morals. All this should come into the writings of a poet. So he or she should serve some didactic purpose also. As I told you, he studied and recorded in his works the changes in the role of a poet. So, somewhere it is a kind of a documentary also. Certain things changed. Initially, the role of a poet was, I mean, basically there are two. One is self-expression, and the other is recording everything that is going on in the society. So here, Michael Drayton was of the opinion that a poet should be a kind of a spokesperson. These are some of the poems as well as the anthologies of Michael Drayton, like Idea, The Shepherd's Garland, Idea's Mirror, Endymion and Phoebe, Robert Duke of Normandy, and Mortimeriadus. So this particular poem that is taking my pen is the third sonnet from Idea's Mirror. We move on to the poem directly. But before I start, I'll just give you a brief introduction of this poem particularly. As I told you, it's a love sonnet. And sonnets, which actually came up in the 16th century, are poems of 14 lines. We all know that. You have already done Easter, so that is also a sonnet. So, sonnets are poems of 14 lines specifically which carry expressions of a singular thought or emotion. Here, the poet is highly in love with his beloved, and somehow there is no reciprocation of the love from her side. So, this is what you can say, a sigh and a complaint for that matter towards his beloved's coldness. Let us see how he puts it and what was the actual type of writing in the Elizabethan age. We take up the first 4 lines now, which is the quatrain that we are talking about. Here he is kind of introducing what he is up to. So this is a record. He's saying, I'm writing poetry and I'm recording certain emotions which have come to my mind. But the whole tone is very different. It is he's complaining to the beloved. He is talking in terms of a transaction that is taking place between himself and his beloved. So for every possible purpose, let us consider that when we human beings connect with the other person, it is always a give and take of everything. In friendship also, in relationships also, in society also, if you are doing something for the other person, naturally you will expect them to do something for you also. And when there is no reciprocation, you become quite depressed. Sometimes you get angry also. So let us see how Michael Drayton expresses his woe. He says, taking my pen with words to cast my woe, duly to count the sum of all my cares, I find my griefs innumerable grow, the reckonings rise to millions of despairs. Taking my pen. Now I'm taking this pen, I'm writing because I'm a poet. This is the best medium through which I can express myself, he says. So he needs to talk or he needs to vent out his anxiety, anguish, sadness, all combined together. So he's recording his sorrows. The woes are the sorrows in words. He has got this method, this medium through which he is expressing. Now he is counting all the anxiety, the sadness, as if it can be counted. I mean, this is this is the simplicity, maybe, or maybe the countable cares and worries and despairs and sorrows and all those things, as if it can be counted. He is putting it that way. You are reminded of a mathematical equation, or maybe people, those who are very good in accounting, can tell us that they have the tally. The left side should match with the right side. So here, if I love you, you have to love me in equal terms, or in equal, like a countable number. If I love you 8 times, you have to love me 8 times. Somewhere or the other, this is the way he is expressing his intense love for his beloved. So he says, duly, correctly, I count the sum of all my cares, the total. I am totaling all my anxieties, my worries, my sadnesses. Okay. I find my griefs innumerable grow. Innumerable is in great numbers. It's uncountable basically. They are growing. My sadness is growing every day that I am away from you. The reckonings rise to millions of despair. So if the final calculation is done, the sorrow is in millions, uncountable again. So this is, I've put it into brackets, the figure of speech hyperbole over here for you, where he's exaggerating. He's exaggerating his love for his beloved. But yes, we all know how painful it is when the other person doesn't give back the love that we are giving them. Okay, so I hope these 4 lines are, it's just an introduction, and you would understand this. Taking my pen with words to cast my woe, I am recording my sorrows, duly to count the sum of all my cares. I find my griefs innumerable grow, the reckonings rise to millions of despairs. And thus, dividing of my fatal hours, the payments of my love I read and cross, subtracting, set my sweets unto my sours, my joy's arrearage leads me to my loss. Now, again, if you look at the words that he is using, it is a kind of account statement that he is making. He's dividing, he's subtracting, he's talking about the payment, he's talking about arrearage. Arrearage is something that you owe the other person. Maybe you have taken a loan, and you have to repay that. That is an arrearage, something that is owed. So that repayment has not been done. So, if you are kind of a businessman and you're asking your client to repay the loan, and or the money that is involved, and maybe the client is not paying attention to you, you are going to get anxious. You are going to feel the anguish, the pain, the sorrow. This is what he's talking about. Let's take line by line. And thus, dividing of my fatal hours. If we cut into parts all the hours that are there, the waking hours, perhaps at night also, the poet is not having enough sleep. So, whatever hours time that is there, if we divide, the payments of my love I read and cross. Now, payment is something that I should get in return, the love that I am demanding. I am not getting it. So I read it, that is, I consider it, and unfortunately, I have every time to put a cross in front of it, because this is not paid. Like, some, the housewives usually have this habit of maintaining a calendar. And when the maid servant doesn't come up, she simply puts a cross across that date. Just to know, today the maid did not come. So today also the beloved did not return the love. So he's reading and he's crossing. Okay, so the payments were not done. Subtracting, he's also subtracting. Set my sweets unto my sours. Now sweets over here are the good things, and sour we'll consider is that it as something that is bad. Okay, so if you balance this, if you compare the things that I have got in my life and the things which I haven't received, that is the sweet and the sour, if we compare it, we would find that the poet has incurred a great loss. The sour is more, that is, the bad things are more. If there is a weighing scale and if you put it on that, my joy's arrearage leads me to my loss, because I'm sad. I have not got your love. I
have put all my life into your hands, and unfortunately, I have got nothing in return. This is your second quatrain. I'll repeat. And thus, dividing of my fatal hours, the payments of my love I read and cross, subtracting, set my sweets unto my sours, my joy's arrearage leads me to my loss. Okay, let us move on to the next quatrain. And thus mine eyes a debtor to thine eye, which by extortion gaineth all their looks. My heart hath paid such grievous usury that all their wealth lies in thy beauty's books. And all is thine, which hath been due to me, and I, a bankrupt, quite undone by thee. This is the last quatrain followed by the couplet. Now we'll take this up. And thus, in the third quatrain, he is kind of summing up the entire thing. First, he introduced what the whole situation is. Second, he is expressing his ideas. And third, he is kind of summarizing the entire thing. So he says, and thus mine eyes are debtor to thine eyes. I here would be the beloved, thine, your eye, my eye, the lover and the beloved, which by extortion he goes to the extent of, using this word extortion. When do we use this word extortion? Something that is taken away forcefully, forcibly from you. That will be extortion. We hear so many kidnappings done, and then there are extortions, maybe, money that is asked. So here what is he trying to tell? That she has, maybe the beloved has taken away his heart with all her beauty, with all her looks, good looks, her smiles, her love, whatever her emotions are. She has taken away everything forcefully from the lover. My heart hath paid such grievous usury. Usury is when some money is, you're lent to somebody, the rate of interest is very high. When you return, maybe you have taken 10 rupees from someone, and while you're returning, you have to return 20 rupees perhaps. That's just the double of the sum that you have taken. That is called usury. When you return some money that you have taken with high rate of interest. So that is a usury, and he is using the word grievous. So it is a big, big, rate of interest that I am paying, that all their wealth lies in thy beauty's books. But again, I am a loser. Wherever you are concerned, your beauty is concerned, I kneel down, all my wealth becomes yours. I lose everything, and you win. And all is thine which hath been due to me, something that I deserved, something that I really was worth, I should have got in my life, has all gone to you. My account is empty, and I, a bankrupt, without any riches, without any money, quite undone by thee. That is, you have finally won whatever the game of life is there, or whatever you call it, some kind of transaction that is always done between two people. Here, the two people, rather, the lover is in love with the beloved. We are not sure of the beloved. She has not reciprocated till now. Now, this poem has got autobiographical elements also. Whatever is known about Michael Drayton, it is said that he was, uh, there was, he was an artist, and there was a man who was kind of promoting him in life. So, Michael Drayton was greatly in love with his daughter Anne. But unfortunately, Anne got married to somebody else, and Drayton still remained a friend to her the rest of his life. So maybe there are autobiographical elements highly present in this poem, and he's talking to Anne, and he's trying to tell her only the image that he is using, or the things that he is asking, or in the terms that he is asking, is kind of an account statement. It is as if a business transaction is taking place. We'll quickly go to the rhyme scheme. Let us see how the rhyme scheme is calculated or worked upon. uh, yeah, we will take line by line. Let's take the first one. Taking my pen with words to cast my woe, duly to count the sum of all my cares, I find my griefs innumerable grow, something that rhymes with woe. So we have put another A in front of grow. The reckonings rise to millions of despairs. So again, cares, despairs. So the rhyme scheme would be A, B, A, B. Let's take the next quatrain. And thus dividing of my fatal hours, the payments of my love I read and cross. Subtracting set my sweets unto my sours. So hours and sours match, they rhyme. My joy's arrearage leads me to my loss. Cross, loss. So again, the second quatrain would be C, D, C, D. The third quatrain, and thus mine eyes are debtor to thine eye, which by extortion gaineth all their looks. My heart hath paid such grievous usury. Now, I looks usury, they do not rhyme. So E, F, G. And the fourth line is that all their wealth lies in thy beauty's books. So it rhymes. The fourth line rhymes with the second one here. So that the third quatrain has the rhyme scheme E, F, G, F. And it is followed by the couplet, and all is thine which hath been due to me, and I a bankrupt quite undone by thee. So me rhymes with thee. So now the rhyme scheme here would be A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, G, F, and G, G. So this is how the sonnets rhyme scheme is. Let us now move on to the next section, that is, let us discuss the themes. There are two themes in this poem. One can be called or can be stated as something that is happening between life and death. If the beloved says yes to the lover, he'll get life. And if she rejects him, he is going to die. So, something between life and death, and that is why he is trying to uh, convey his anguish. The second theme here is between, we can take it metaphorically also, between the desire to write and the lack of poetic inspiration. So here the beloved, instead of being a woman, can be his poetry, can be his art. Okay, so many a times the poets do feel that a dead end has come. Maybe the poetic inspiration is no longer there. The poet is trying hard to think about words or lure words, and somehow the words do not come to him or visit him or bless him. You can use any word over here. And the poet waits and waits, becomes sad, because writing is the only religion that a poet knows. Writing is his only love. Maybe the poet is talking about the lack of poetic inspiration over here and his great desire to produce something which is unique, something which by which he will be known for the times to come, in the times to come. Okay? Let us again see if it is the first theme, if we take up, that is between the lover and the beloved. Here the love is not reciprocated, and there is sadness, loneliness, lack of companionship. He's alone. He's sitting, he's counting, he's deciding, or rather just analyzing his life. He is alone. Now, if we talk about the poet as a poet and his lack of inspiration, then the theme also tells us that there is a decline in the poetic ability. Maybe he feels that this is the swan song. Maybe this is the last poem that he is writing. Maybe no words will come his way henceforth. So that is why that sadness, that anguish is still there. And no poetic output, there is a feeling of suffocation. There is a feeling that something should change. There is a feeling that he should get the blessing of the muse, that he should be able to write good poetry. So it can be dealt both ways. The themes that are there, his beloved should reciprocate the love on one side, and he should be able to write good poetry. Words should simply come into his pen and on the paper. He should be known, he should be admired for his poetic output. I'll repeat the poem here for the benefit of the students. एक बार हम लोग इसको हिंदी में भी देखेंगे. टेकिंग माई पेन विथ वर्ड्स टू कास्ट माई वो. कवि यहाँ बात कर रहे हैं, एक लव सोनेट है ये. और सोनेट अभी जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था, इट इज़ अ पोएम ऑफ 14 लाइन्स. यहाँ आप देखोगे पहला क्वार्टरन होता है, 4 लाइन्स होते हैं फर्स्ट क्वार्टरन में. सेकेंड क्वार्टरन में भी 4 लाइन्स होते हैं. थर्ड क्वार्टरन ऑल्सो हैज़ 4 लाइन्स एंड इट इज़ फॉलोड बाय अ कपलेट विच इज़ 2 लाइन्स. 2 लाइन्स होते हैं लास्ट वाले स्टैंजा में, उसको हम लोग कपलेट बोलते हैं. सो जब ये शुरुआत होती है, फर्स्ट स्टैंजा की बात आती है, द पोएट इज टेलिंग अस, वो बता रहे हैं कि पेन लेके, पेन एक ऐसी चीज होती है एक राइटर के लिए जैसे एक सैनिक के लिए उसकी तलवार होगी. सो ही हैज पिक्ड अप हिज पेन और वो ये सारा जितने इमोशंस उनके जहन में आ रहे हैं वो सारे लिखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. अब लिख तो रहे हैं लेकिन ये सारा इमोशन जो है वो एक ट्रांजैक्शन के तौर पे आ रहा है. सो ही इज काउंटिंग, काउंट कर रहे हैं मैंने कितना खर्च किया, मुझे उसके रिटर्न में क्या मिला है. और जब ये सारा सोचते हैं तब समझ में आता है कि उनको तो लॉस हो गया है. ही हैज नॉट गेन्ड एनीथिंग, कुछ फायदा नहीं हुआ, नुकसान ही नुकसान हुआ है. इसलिए सारे जो वर्ड्स इस्तेमाल किए उन्होंने, ही इज डिवाइडिंग, ही इज सब्ट्रैक्टिंग, ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट पेमेंट्स, एरियरेज, ये शब्दों पर से हमको समझ में आता है कि ही इज considering this love exchange between his beloved and himself as a kind of a transaction. और एंड में तो बात कर रहे हैं कि जितना मैंने मुझे मिलना चाहिए था वो सारा जो ड्यू था वो सारा बिलवड की तरफ चला गया है. ही इज अगेन देर इज नथिंग इन हिज अकाउंट, ही इज अ बैंकरप्ट. ओके, एंड फाइनल आउटपुट उसका जो है वो 0 है, बिग 0. सो देर इज अ काइंड ऑफ, इसमें अगर हम बात करेंगे तो दुख है, कहीं एंजाइटी लेवल इनकी बढ़ गई है, एंग्विश है. अब सैडनेस और एंग्विश में थोड़ा डिफरेंस होता है. सैडनेस विल बी दैट मे बी योर फ्रेंड हैज गॉट नाइस ice cream to eat and you have not got that, or maybe your brother has got a new bicycle and you have not got it. Sadness is there. Anguish nahi bolenge. Anguish will be when you love somebody and it is not reciprocated. It's a great sadness that has come upon him. बहुत खूबसूरती से उन्होंने ये सारे जो ट्रांजैक्शन है उसमें अकाउंट्स जैसे हम लोग रखते हैं उस तरीके से ये पेश किया है. आई होप you have enjoyed this poem and it is quite simple to understand. हम लोग थीम्स की अगर बात करते हैं तो 2 थीम्स हमने देखे हैं. एक तो लाइफ एंड डेथ की बात करेंगे हम लोग. अगर बिलवड ने हाँ बोल दिया तो लाइफ मिल गई, जिंदगी मिल गई, और अगर ना बोला तो मौत से बदतर जिंदगी हो जाएगी. और दूसरी तरफ अगर हम देखते हैं तो यहाँ हम लोग एक दूसरी तरीके से इस होल पोएम के तरफ देख सकते हैं कि इट इज द डिजायर टू राइट. लिखने की इच्छा बहुत है लेकिन जिसको हम लोग प्रेरणा बोलते हैं, पोएटिक इंस्पिरेशन बोलते हैं, वो ही कहीं से नजर नहीं आ रही है. इसलिए poet is feeling very sad about it. I hope all of you have understood this poem. Uh, if there are any questions, we can take the questions. I have stopped sharing now. I cannot see the YouTube channel. So, Dr. Dodewar, if you can see any questions or maybe any comments and you would like to share.
Yes, ma'am, I am seeing.
Yeah.
Students have not dropped any question.
Oh, my teaching was so good.
So, dear students, you are requested if you want to ask any question, you can drop or you can drop your question in chat box also.
I think they have understood it because of the theme of the poem. It is a love sonnet and quite easy to understand that way, and a classic example of the Elizabethan type of writing. So, a wonderful poem again chosen by the people, those who have drafted the syllabus. And congratulations to them, and thank you to you, Dodewar sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear students, if you don't have any question, I will move on to the vote of thanks now. We are almost at the fag end of the session. What is left is the formality to propose vote of thanks. Ma'am, your lecture was really informative, energetic, and wonderful. So, on behalf of Mahila Mahavidyalaya Nagpur, Rajkumar Keval Ramani Kanya Mahavidyalaya Nagpur, Aryash Mundle Dharampet Arts and Commerce College Nagpur, and the Board of Studies in English, RTM Nagpur University Nagpur, I express my deep sense of gratitude to Dr. Pranjali Kane, who has accepted our invitation and delivered a wonderful lecture on this occasion. I also record my deep sense of appreciation and thanks to all the students who have extended wonderful response to this session. Thank you, ma'am, thank you, everyone. We shall meet
Thank you so much,
at
sir.
the same time.
I
Thank
would like to thank Bhagdikar madam, Dabir madam, Sadesh Pandey madam for organizing this wonderful, collaborative activity, something which will be, available for the students in a, they can visit it anytime. And this is a wonderful thing that is happening.
you. Yeah.
I think कोरोना का एक अच्छा साइड इफेक्ट बोल सकते हैं.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.